topics. So one, I would love to spend 5-10 minutes, as quick as I can. I just want to run through the product, a live demo for folks who haven't seen it. Carl, I know you've had a chance to walk through that experience. For what it's worth, it's always good to keep showing the product and get people very clear on the end-to-end experience. And for Ryan, I'd love to make sure you see it as well. So I'll kind of walk through what that process might look like from particularly the sales rep side. So that's kind of the product side and the user experience. And we'll cover both the sales rep side and homeowner. I've got a slide that covers support. Again, there's support for the sales reps as it relates to what documents and things are available. And I'd love to get any feedback on the areas that you think would be helpful as we kind of prepare that team. And then there's also support on the end customer side, on the homeowner. So I just wanted to make it clear to folks what we offer is support, things that are coming soon. And again, any areas that we can bolster on both will lead to a more successful pilot and a more successful rollout. Fourth topic is reporting. I've been working with Fish, but I wanted to make this team available, aware of what we plan to provide in terms of reporting, at least on a daily basis. And some of this will relate to some of the real-time actions in which the sales team can operate, or at least the ops team internally. But anybody from a general visibility standpoint should be able to access this data. I'd like to call out some risks. It's more around just setting expectation. Nothing I've seen ever goes out perfect. And for this team, I think it's always helpful to just talk through some of these so we can ask questions and just have general awareness, because again, we're more successful when we work as a team and push this out and know where the cracks are and can fill them quickly. And the last item is around roadmap. As Carl, we've been kind of marching towards a post-Independence Day long weekend launch. Obviously, the team on my side is feverishly working away and continue to improve things. There's a lot we're doing on the software side, but we're also doing other things on the hardware. So, as we become successful at this, we want to be well prepared to be able to tackle more in the future. And I want to make this team available, aware of what we're doing. Does that sound good?
Perfect.
Okay. So I'll dive into the product demo. I'm just going to cover, what I'm going to cover is I'm going to show you the unboxing, the actual product itself. And then there's aspects here on surveys that I'm going to refer to just so you get a bit of that experience. So we have an intake survey, and there's an optional initial feedback survey, and there's a variety of emails. So I'm going to pop backward and forward between these screenshots and what I'm going to live demo. So just give me 1 minute to join from my phone. So you might have to pin what I'm going to show you, because I'm going to actually show you the live product from my device. So if I can do this right. All right. Can you guys see my other mobile and looking at the boxes? Yeah? Thumbs up?
Not yet. Hold on.
Look for one screen where you can see me waving this. So I'm presenting a lot. I've got some on a screen and some in person. So let me know if you can see, Carl, if you can see my actual iPhone.
I am not seeing this. Okay, keep rolling.
I can see it. If you change your view to like viewing more icons.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to do this, if this is better. Can you see that? And I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Can you see it now over here?
Yeah, we can.
Oh, now I see your screen. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So I've got one, my original video is actually showing the product. And then the other screen is actually showing my iPhone. So those are two things I'm trying to show you. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do this a little simpler. I'm not going to broadcast my screen. I apologize. Maybe that's just too much. And I'll do it like this. Can you guys see my phone and just this now? Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. So Ryan, your sales team will get ton of these boxes, right? This is the smart air filtration box, and it's about hand size, and they'll have them loaded in their car. inside here, when it opens up, so the salesperson's going to go in and effectively close the sale, and then they're going to walk the consumer, the homeowner, through the intake survey that's presented on the screen, right? And in this survey, they're going to, if they opt in, they're going to collect the mailing address, their name, their email address, all of that information. I think the splat is something else that they collect, and then they're opting into the promo. And at that point, we're going to be presenting them with the smart air filtration box. Yeah. When they open it, there's basically the actual device itself, USB cable, AC adapter. They're going to be able to plug it in right away. And I'm going to actually, I'll demo it here. So when they plug it in, it's immediately going to show blue wave, meaning it's in Bluetooth mode waiting to connect. And there's a QR code in the front here. And if I skip to this screen, on the left, you see that circle. It says, welcome to Woosh. Here's your Woosh air quality monitor, courtesy of Sunrun. Take the first step towards clean air in your home. Scan the QR code to get started. When you scan this QR code, it's going to take you right to the App Store, right, to install the app. And then the user is now going to go through creating an account. I'm not going to create an account right away because it's going to take a bit of time. But you can imagine it'll send an email, confirm the email address, and then they'll be able to get into the app. At this point, it's going to prompt them to add their air quality monitor. So Ryan, one big asset here is because your sales reps are with the customer, they have their phone, you can overcome one big challenge people have, which is just setting up the device. So as long as we're successful setting up the account, they should be able to just, I don't know how well you can see my screen, but to set up new device, it'll say scan the QR code of the air quality monitor. You go on the back of the device, there's a QR code right there. You scan it, it'll give you a bit of a checklist. You need Wi-Fi, you need to power it up. You hit next, it'll say place it in an area of your home. My preference right now is placing it in the kitchen or the living room, someone where a lot of people have activity, because then we're going to see the most data. And we're also going to capture combustion events in the future related to the kitchen. So you hit next, it'll tell you to make sure it's powered up. It's going to try to connect. So you can see here. All right, it's going to search for Wi-Fi. It's going to find the networks, the Wi-Fi networks. I'm going to select the one I want to set up. I'm going to put the password. Oops. Oops, sorry. There we are. Okay, there we go. So I put my Wi-Fi password, and then it's going to try to connect to Wi-Fi. Okay, and then I'm going to give it a name. So I'm going to just call this one the office. That way we know which one it is. I hit submit. And then the next portion, this is going to update, but there's a smart thermostat integration. So in this case, we support Sensi. I'm just going to skip this for now, but you can actually log into your smart thermostat account and then they get connected. And you'll see that that allows, when the air quality goes from green to red, it tells the smart thermostat to circulate the air through the filter. And that's what improves the air quality in the home. So if you're cooking, there's a lot of, smoke from cooking bacon or something. If this detects it and you've connected your smart thermostat, it'll link. Today we only support Sensi, but you'll see in the roadmap we have Nest and Ecobee and all the major brands in the roadmap. So this will continue to get more and more support. I'm going to skip it for now, and you're done. So at this point, you've just given the homeowner likely their first air quality monitor, and they have information about the air quality outdoors, as you can see in the app, and indoors, right? And they scroll up on there, you can get the indoor data, and you'll start getting some more trend information. It's quite primitive right now, but this will change over the next month as we get more, 7-day data, 24 hours, longer periods of time. But the idea here is that you suddenly, at a glance, the color will tell you what the air quality is, and you can look up more information in the mobile app. But the hope here is that for the homeowner and the sales rep, this is a very simple process that you just walk them through. They have a net new monitoring device that gives them better assurance about their air quality in their home. And it was a very simple setup process for them. We want to get through that within the first couple minutes. Hopefully it only takes, 2 or 3 minutes to get this all set up. And, then we can carry on, with the pamphlet. So we've got a Welcome to Sunrun pamphlet that they carry. The first step we did was we covered setting up the air quality monitor, right? And the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to get the air filter information. So we're going to help them. And I can provide your staff training or information on how to get that if the homeowner doesn't have it already. But the big value here is this gives an opportunity for us to ship them the filter. But as we've highlighted here, once your filter arrives, your Sunrun rep will come to help you install it in your return air grill or furnace if help is needed. And that often can be the case. A lot of people don't necessarily, it's quite a simple thing to change, but may not know it. So it's a great opportunity for us to have another touch point. So now that we've kind of, the sales rep here should collect that information, enter it into the survey. So we've got all that information. What's going to happen on our end is we're going to, so I guess the Sunrun rep leaves at this point and has left the homeowner with the AQM in this pamphlet. The expectation for the homeowner now is that they're going to get an email from Woosh. And that email is to place the order for the filter, which is going to come in this big box. So I'm just going to switch over to the email so you can see it. Oh, that doesn't show too well. Can everybody see my what I'm presenting in terms of the email? Is that showing up okay? So this is the email that's going to go out on the same day. Once we pick it up, we'll have it automated. This email will go out. And all they've got to do is order the filter. They've just got to click that button. It'll be preloaded with their mailing information, and we'll know their size information already because your sales reps, Ryan, have already input that data in the spreadsheet. And so this just allows kind of that distinction that they're now placing a Woosh order. It's already it's courtesy of Sunrun, so it's all paid for. And they're just now confirming, yes, that's my address, that's all my information, I'd like to have the filter. And our intention within a 24-hour, 48-hour cycle, as quick as possible, we're going to package and ship this out. So we've got branding at the top here that says brought to you by Sunrun. We've got our logo and everything. So this will arrive, hopefully, we typically use UPS, and it should arrive within 2 days. Sometimes it gets there next day. But Carl, you saw how quick it was. I literally shipped it in Bay Area. It's going to move quick. So we're going to try to do that as quick as we can. Once it arrives, I actually made a new card. So Carl, I'm going to run this by, maybe you and Rocky, I'll send these details. It's the same back, Welcome to Sunrun, but it's an informational card that focuses on just setting up the filter, right? Now, this is an example of a fairly large filter. It's 20 by 30. But I'm going to very quickly just show you how this gets set up. So the 3 instructions is install the app if you don't have it, add a new device, which is the filter, and then install your Woosh smart filter in your furnace or return air grill. Those are the 3 steps. And there's a picture on the left here that shows you in the mobile app. You go to the filter tab, which is in the middle, and it says, set up a new device. Okay, I'm going to set that up. And what it's going to do is give me instructions. There are actually 2 devices in this box. There's a gateway and there's a filter. The gateway is actually what allows this filter to connect to the internet because this is Bluetooth and this is Wi-Fi. So if I follow the instructions, it's going to ask me to scan the QR code for the gateway. So I go to the back. There's a QR code back there. I scan that. And then it's going to ask me, can you scan the QR code on the filter? So if I go to the back of the filter, there's a QR code right here. So I'm just going to do that. Put it back. And then it's going to do the same thing where it's asking for a Wi-Fi network. So it's going to scan. Let me see if I set this up. Okay, yeah, it's good. Okay, so I'm just going to put in my Wi-Fi password. Okay. Now it's connecting to Wi-Fi. And then the next thing it's going to do is they're going to connect to each other. The gateway and the filter are going to talk. Okay, now that they're talking, it's going to do a calibration. That's just a step that allows it to measure it. It finishes very quickly. I'm going to say that this filter is in the office, and I'm going to submit it. And then we are done. Okay, so now the last step is putting this into, it could be in the wall, it could be in the furnace. We're going to return it to wherever it is. And the status is online. Now, there's no filter life yet, but we're collecting data because we have to estimate how long the filter will last. So it could take up to weeks, depending on how often you run your system, but we are collecting the data, and we're going to put more information to show you that it's really collecting data, and we'll give you an estimate once we have an estimate. But now that this filter is online, you've got the air quality monitor. That whole system can offer filtration for your home. That's the full install. So Ryan, from your side, if you do go back in, your sales rep would be helping with that process. Gives them an opportunity just to, it could be a homeowner who's not as familiar with smart devices and they just need a bit of help downloading the app, or actually they've got the app already, really just connecting it up. Now, just so you know, there are some instructions in the app that it didn't cover, which is there are magnets on the back here for this gateway, and so it just sticks to anything metal. And so the furnace is usually metal. Actually, it's almost always metal, and the return arrow grill is. So this just sticks outside. This just sticks outside by magnets, and that's it. Okay, so I think what we just covered is kind of end to end the air quality monitor phase. And we just went through actually setting up the hardware on the filter side. I'm just going to go back to the emails for a second, because what I didn't cover was, we have an email that goes out when it ships, right? And then we have an email if we don't support your size, which is one of the risks I'll call out. We have an email that supports that, and we will be constantly supporting new sizes. So when one's popular enough, we'll make it. Once the filter is shipped and it's on its way to you, the tracking number gets to you, and then there's an installation check-in email. So after we know that it's arrived, and so this is probably a question that I call out later in the presentation around, we'll notify Sunrun whether or not they've actually set up their smart filter or not. And that way you can get a queuing signal to say, should I reach out to the homeowner, ask them if they need any help? Just check in to see how they're enjoying the system. So we'll give those signals. But I think this is an opportunity for the sales rep to, again, re-engage with the customer, keep them in conversation, and continue to kind of deliver incremental value through this. The last one that many of you might have seen, and Carl, did you actually get your refill also?
I did.
Oh, wow. Okay. Because I think it just mailed out, just sat there. But when it's time to change, you get an email and a notification in the app. This is actually what a filter refill looks like. I didn't actually show you guys the magic of this, but we are officially partnered with 3M. We're a co-branded product. And, if you haven't seen my pitch on Shark Tank, this is the filter media, works like a Swiffer, folds up, more sustainable, better for the environment, takes up less space to ship. And it's actually a better performing filter than nearly anything in the market, except on par with 3M, because we're using their technology and they're using our design. But that filter fits inside this bag, and this is what it ships to you. There's branding on the top, brought to you by Sunrun. We'll probably evolve this label, but there are some instructions on how to open it up and throw it away. And then there's some branding on the 3M side, right? And then there'll just be a shipping label on the back. But this is actually what shows up to your door when it's time to change. And all of that is to take the worry and thought out of, one, I know I have good air quality because I've got a monitor now that helps tell me when it's good. I've got an amazing filter, which is filtering out all the stuff that's bad. Anytime I need to change, I don't need to check, look at it, or do anything. It just shows up in the mail, right? In our case, we actually do notify the customer. The email I'm showing you here says courtesy or order your complimentary filter refill. And so we're constantly looking to remind them that Sunrun is looking out for their health, their well-being, and supporting them into a cleaner home in both energy and air quality. And so that email goes out. It's a one-click buy experience. I think, Carl, you went through it. You basically shows up the cart pre-filled, and it'll just come in the mail within the next 2 or 3 days. And again, we'll support them in replacing it. Okay, so I'm glad that was the demo of kind of the product side. Any questions about that, or areas I can cover better and dive in deeper?
I have a couple of questions, Winston. Thanks for the demo. That's awesome. This is a really cool product.
Yeah.
Okay, so a couple of things we've already ran into when they have multiple filters in their house.
Yes.
How are we going to advise them, like which one to choose, type of thing? How do you suggest we do that?
So that's a great question. Most homes either have a primary and a secondary system. So there's like one that's used heavier, and it's usually the bigger filter. There's a smaller one. So our general advice is you can order additional ones. So in our email, it says, let me just go to it. You can order additional AQMs and filters. Shipping soon. Yeah, if you want, you can add another air quality monitor or smart air filter. So we have that in the email. So as they check out, you can, if you have additional ones, but that's coming at your cost, your additional cost, right? And so it's really up to them. Now, for the sales reps, as they speak to them, sometimes the primary and the secondary system, the secondary one might not be changed that often, because let's say it's just for the upstairs and it's not the downstairs, so it's slightly different. You might manage that yourself, do it differently. More than welcome to spend your own money and buy Woosh, and we will support it as well. Our boxes can actually handle up to 2 filters, but I probably would just separately ship it. But my general advice is they're more than welcome to. And if you were to choose one for Sunrun to support, it would be whatever you believe is the primary system, and it's usually the one with the bigger filter, because it's servicing more air.
That makes sense.
In your experience, what's sort of the breakdown of 1 filter, 2 filters, 3, 4, 5 filters in terms of the population?
Yeah, the breakdown.
Yeah.
Nick, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but we typically see more than about 80%, let's say 75-80% as a single filter. And then two filter systems, would be about 15, and less than 5, or it's definitely low single digits. So the other thing, Carl, when we looked at a lot of the execs, and Rocky, when you send it in, I know it's when the bigger your home, you've got more air filters. And you've obviously, from an income perspective, you're probably at the higher end. So, from what we've seen of all the people that are buying from us, about 80% only have a single filter. and then a smaller place should have 2. And it's usually like California is very much biased to the West Coast. You see double systems. And when you go to the East Coast, it's almost always just one, and it's one filter size. West Coast is a little bit different.
Cool.
Was that helpful, Rocky?
Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, and we can help kind of consult as we uncover more through the process.
Definitely. Sorry,
Hey, everybody.
Ryan.
Sorry I'm late. Just hopped on, was filming some stuff. Sorry.
Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining, Jordan.
Jordan, pleasure to meet you. Winston.
Hey, you too.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I just did a product demo for the team, just kind of simulating a run through of what the sales reps would experience and kind of breaking down the phases from dropping off just the air quality monitor and then the subsequent shipping of the smart air filter, and then setting that up or providing support to the homeowner to set that up. I'll switch back to my deck then, and we'll have covered all of the survey stuff. So I'll jump into support. So we've been preparing support on both sides. One, on the sales rep, we've been building a sales knowledge base. And so Ryan, I don't know if you've had a chance to open this doc, but I've been working with Ming quite deeply on one, just making sure there's clarity on like what sizes do we support. And we've been working with 3M. This covers more than 80% of all their sales in the West Coast region. So I'm glad that our list very much aligned with theirs. And it's not perfect, but it's the best thing that we have, and we think that will support this pilot very well. We cover air filter basics. So just questions around like what's MERV rating? I've heard about it. My technicians talk about it. So I want to make sure your team is prepared to answer like, why is air quality important? What does the filter do? Do I have a filter? You're trying to answer some of those questions. Changing your air filter, I think it's somewhat obvious because they fill up and you need to change them. But a lot of people actually have no idea, like, when do I need to do it? And this is partly why we're giving them Woosh, because we don't want a human to look at it and guess. We're actually going to have a sensor and let it take care of it. It's just like auto magic. And I think that's the way it should be. But we want to make sure they're comfortable understanding that, this is what it does and this is what's good for you, why it's good for them. Indoor air quality. This breaches beyond just kind of filtration. Obviously, I don't expect sales reps to be like experts in any of this, but the term just IAQ, it's helpful to know. It stands for indoor air quality. And at the end of the day, there are just kind of two big categories. Physical stuff that gets caught in a net, and that's particulate matter. It's like dust, fine fibers, those things. And then there's gases, right? We talk about like, fumes, combustion, all those things. And those are two major components that contribute to air quality, and just having some basic understanding is always helpful. Just helps there. So I can obviously help train folks up if they want to learn more or answer any of those questions. The purpose of the air quality monitor, how it works, you plug it in, green means good, yellow means not as good, red means bad. There isn't too much more than that, but sometimes, many people have never seen one before. So we just want to make sure there's awareness there. And I'll obviously want to ship units to your team so they can experience it firsthand. The Woosh app itself, just getting familiar with that and how it works. And obviously, details on support. We have a 1-800 number and email support. I also include installation videos because one big asset is because you have boots on the ground in the house, you can actually solve a big problem that this industry is plagued with. Is a lot of people just don't know their filter size or like where their filter is. This can be actually, I think, a really good opportunity because it's one of the simpler things that you could ever just offer assistance to. But it brings that relationship a little bit closer because you may solve for a lot of people a very basic question they might have. And the other thing is the homeowner who might be signing up might be different than the person who maintains. And it's not a bad thing to know because it relates to their health. I do see this a lot when we educate customers, like they inquire and say, I didn't know I had an air filter. Thank you for helping me figure out what the size was and changing it. Because when I bought this house, I didn't know and I didn't know who to ask. So you're bringing a value add that may not be core to Sunrun's business, but as an auxiliary service, I think it can offer a lot of value and a sticking value where you're helping them with their health, something they need to do on maintenance. And it's not necessarily an overly complicated thing. They can feel comfortable now with this knowledge. Available support functions from Woosh. I want to offer demo units to your team so that they go through the experience themselves, feel very comfortable setting up the account, and understand at least at minimum the air quality monitor piece. Obviously, the filter is there as well. And then myself and the team, I think it's always helpful given the level of some of this relationship building. Any spare time for in-person training or over video or any assets we can provide to support your team, more than willing to offer that. So just know we're behind you and understand, time is of essence, it's very valuable to you. So we want to make that efficient. So anything that you can think of that better equips your team to be more comfortable or confident, we want to support. On the homeowner side, through each of the emails, there'll be the support email from Woosh. We always have a number, a support number that they can call. Obviously, there's the Sunrun rep because that may be a useful contact, but we're always here. There's customer feedback through the app as well. And then we offer FAQs through Zendesk support. So what's coming soon is we're obviously working on better mobile app visuals as we improve. And then investing some more polished videos on YouTube installs so that we could direct them to YouTube just to know a little bit more about how, my filter goes in this way or that way or whatever it might be. So you can expect that over time we'll be building out a better knowledge base because the HVAC is always this kind of, I do maintain it myself, but it's a little technical. So it really bridges, it's like a garage door, you can fix it and as long as you just know a little bit, but it's not a lot. You don't have to always call somebody to help you. Okay. Just talking about some risks. And so I'm just calling out three ones that are worth noting. I'm sure there are more. Filter size compatibility. Rocky, when you sent me that list of the exact, they have the most premium systems. I can tell just by their sizing. These are not cheap HVAC systems, and they had 8, this and 6 thermostats, and who knows. I don't know exactly Sunrun's segment perfectly, right? I've not had direct experience with it, but generally a market segment with a certain amount of buying power has these kind of homes and these sizes of things. So I'm just calling out that we support 11 sizes to date. We plan to support more. But I cannot guarantee what that overlap looks like with your market. So I think it's something we want to keep our eye on. And just to manage expectation on how fast we can support it, it takes us typically 3 months to get a new size supported. So just giving you an idea there. Filter size stock availability. We're starting to ramp up production in the Bay Area in our San Francisco office. And if it happens to be all these one home of just one size, we've had to buy 11 sizes. And so it's challenging to have so much stock of every size. So I can't tell because we're running this pilot over, let's say our first 500 units over a shorter period of time. I'm hoping there's some distribution. If it just comes back as this one size, we're going to have to try to pull and move things in as quick as we can. That doesn't seem to be the case given all the work we've done in the Bay Area already. But it's worth mentioning anyways. The last one is HVAC system variants. I think it's important for us to make sure this team understands that we've only seen so many things. So in terms of mitigation, we obviously will be providing direct support, making sure that any customer that gets equipped with Woosh, we're providing that direct level support when necessary. So it's just to highlight, a lot of this stuff is new technology. We're already working with probably the leading HVAC manufacturer in the world in partnership on including our tech as well. So I think it's good for you to know that, we're in bed with the right people. The technology is new, and 3M obviously is behind us officially. So it's a very bright future, but in many ways, Sunrun is bringing innovation to the table, which gives, I think, a big differentiated factor. But it's something that is unique to your customer base. So hopefully they recognize that and are excited about it as well. And obviously the Shark Tank stuff is a good example. Like, I think the end audience is just excited about one less thing to worry about and one other thing to be happy about. Any other risks that folks might want to call out just for discussion purposes? No? Okay. Well, let me know if there's anything. It's always good because I'm always trying to mitigate against these things. Okay, reporting. We've been working with Fish. I emailed them actually again today, just to bump. Our goal is to give Sunrun visibility of activities at Woosh. And so we'll be uploading CSVs on a daily basis to a Google Share Drive. And there are 3 main forms right now. The customer intake, so that's all the information that relates to the customer, their filter size, their mailing address, all that. And they're like, I want to, I've opted in. The second one is product flow. And so this, although it's small, this little spreadsheet, this row and columns here kind of cover when was the filter ordered, was it ordered, did we ship it, when did it get delivered, did the refill get ordered, did it get, so you get visibility in there. The open question from my end is we intend to provide information on whether the smart filter has been installed. The instructions today highlight, if when you get your filter, your Sunrun sales rep will help install the filter. So I wanted to better understand what that timing you're thinking looks like and what that engagement is, so that I can make sure that, we're providing the necessary information to make that, kind of that experience smooth. So I don't know, Carl, Ryan, if you have any thoughts around how you want to handle that part. And
yeah, I mean, it works really well.
Ryan and Jordan on that. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, at point of sale, we're setting it up, we're installing the monitor, and then within 48 hours, they're receiving that filter, and then we come back at cap, is what we call it, where a customer approves their final design. I would imagine that's the most seamless way for us.
Okay. Oh, wonderful. Okay, so it's like a check-in point, regardless you have scheduled, and then you can offer this additional check-in on the filter as well. Okay, wonderful. So then I will just give you a signal if it's been installed or not. So then they just have a preview, but they could regardless ask, how's it going? Did you have any problems? It doesn't seem like it's that critical. Maybe another question I have is, do you need that data then? Do you care if it's been installed or not? Because you have a check-in anyways.
It doesn't hurt. I mean, if the data exists, why not feed the sales rep so they know how engaged the customer is?
I think it'll be helpful
Did
to track
you say, Ryan? Sorry to interrupt. Ryan, did you say a site survey is when it would be put in? Is that what we were talking about? And then followed up at cap? Is that what you just said?
No, I was assuming I didn't include site survey. So basically, we install it. We give the monitor to them at point of sale in person.
Point of sale.
And then they're getting the filter shipped to them, and then we install it at cap for the sales rep.
Got it.
It might be there soon enough to do a site survey, though, depending on how quickly we turn those around.
Yeah, I mean, if you can our typical site survey is happening within kind of 72 hours is what we're trying to drive. And if the filter's getting there in time, then yeah, that could happen. But the sales rep isn't always there during the site up.
Yeah, so it depends, I guess, really, whether you want to have another sales touch point associated with this, or whether you want to have site survey do it, or if it's at risk, right? Sometime between signature and cap, whether that's the touch point you want to use. It's up to you guys, obviously, but
yeah, I'd say we probably don't want another touch point. You can create another touch point out of it if you wanted to, but we probably don't want to add a necessary touch point just with scheduling and stuff.
Okay. So
I think the way you outlined it, Ryan, is right. The the monitoring piece at point of sale, filters get there, and then we follow up at cap. If it's not installed, we just how long does it take to install it? Like, are you just swapping out air filters?
It's set up not very easy, but it really depends. Sometimes there are homeowners that like that support. I'll give you an example. There's like, you have this like huge group of widowed women that like have to suddenly maintain a home, and they are paying for services like these because it just simplifies it, but they have to be shown it in many ways. I'm not saying that's always the case, but
Well,
I'm
saying more like if we do show up for the customer at cap and they haven't done anything, like, does it take 3 minutes for a sales rep to do an install setup,
yeah.
or does it take like 25? Because that's a big
No.
difference for us.
I just did the demo. I don't know if call Ryan.
I know. Sorry, I missed it.
Yeah, I'd say it's a couple minutes at most.
It's 10 minutes max. I don't think it'll be an issue for us to do it.
Which is good, because either they'll do it and then we follow up and talk to them, or they don't. And then, to your point, Winston, like, we've added some value, helped them out.
Yeah.
It's now going to be harder to cancel, which is essentially what this is for anyways, right? Like, gives them a good product that they, feel a little bit more down the road with it. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and as far as the data goes, actually, I think having that data to know, kind of down the line we assess this, like, hey, how frequently do people do install themselves versus
It's good.
do it for them. And that's just a good data point to have anyway. So
Yeah. We'll definitely include it. Just one of those things I wanted to make sure we're capturing it in the right ways. Okay. Well, let me know if right now, as you can see, customer intake, product flow, and then the last CSV we're working on is more around comms. So each of those emails I showed you, when it's shipped, it's just when it gets gone, it goes out, and then if it gets opened. So we're trying to provide that visibility as well.
And then Winston, additional want to add another filter and monitor.
If they wanted to add another one, it would just be the first checkout flow is where you can add it. Or if you were to just revisit us separately, you could order, you could just tell them visit the Woosh website and order it directly.
Okay.
We'll provide a link in the first email when they're placing their order for the filter. They can order an additional AQM or an additional smart air filter.
Got it. But it's at their own cost, right? So how much?
Yeah, it's at their own cost. So we retail for $199 the bundle of the smart air filter and the air quality monitor. But separately, if you bought them separately, it's $100 for the AQM and $150 for the filter. And it's $22 per refill shipped. And again, it's now a 3M filter as well, so it reflects kind of the grade and quality.
Okay. And
Winston,
then
sorry, Ryan.
sorry, we're including the first refill is on Sunrun, or is it?
There's a filter. The Sunrun package has one filter, the first one already pre-installed, and 2 subsequent refills. So it should cover, a minimum. Let's say your first 6 months. So depending on the solar, kind of the install time, there's enough there to cover you for, half to 2/3 of the year or 3/4 of the year. But it could definitely stretch you over to the year because, the Bay Area doesn't have, with wildfires, could be a little different, but, depends really where you live, how quick you'll go through a refill. Like Central Valley, it gets pretty bad, but I think where we're talking about in Bay Area immediately it's actually it's a bit lighter. Just fire season is when things get a little rough. Rocky, did you have a question?
My question was actually the same. How many complimentary refills? But I did have another question. You had mentioned earlier in the demo that there's some sort of notification that goes back to Sunrun. Can you elaborate on what that is?
I would say it's this is the information that we pipe back to Sunrun. So there's from the mobile experience, there isn't anything specifically that goes to Sunrun.
Okay, so it's just the reporting. Sorry, I must have misunderstood. There was some way that we were being notified.
We do, well, through these reports, we are notifying you through the process where they're getting, but I wouldn't say there's anything in the mobile app specifically that will send you something. I'd do it more through the back end.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
And then what's
yep.
the time for potentially adding Nest? Because we see that all the time in home, and I know that's
Oh, for smart thermostat?
yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. So that's on the roadmap for us, the mobile app is, so we're going to be investing from now until launch and post launch. You're just going to see more and more software. That's where all the focus for our team is. Obviously, production is happening and we're ramping that up, but the big feature improvements and compatibility are coming through software. So general UI improvements, we're going to be iterating. There's a lot to do there, and I'm happy to share more details if folks are interested. Smart thermostat integration is the next big one. It's just formalizing. Right now, we prioritize Sensi because they actually sponsored us in many things. So just company agreement-wise, that was the first one we're supporting. Nest is the next one. Work has already begun on that, but I'll have to give some better timelines as to when that will get launched. Regardless, we'll be notifying customers who have Nest that when it's available, they can just integrate and it's set up.
Okay.
What does that mean to integrate with smart thermostat? I mean, most people have smart thermostats these days. Does that mean that, like, without it integrating with smart thermostats, it works differently? Or do you still put the filter in, it works independently?
Yeah,
and also you can integrate it with smart thermostats.
Exactly. The base monitor, just sits and the light will tell you what's going on. But in the mobile app, you'll see the air quality details. And then the filter information is also available in the app, and it will tell you when it's full and we'll send you a refill. The smart thermostat integration is tied into when the air quality gets poor. The integration allows us to trigger the airflow of the HVAC system automatically. And that allows you to manage the air quality more actively.
Got it. Okay. So that's not, I mean, it's an important part, but they can work independently.
For sure.
Okay. For
sure. Because many homeowners may not have it, or they may not just integrate it. You're still getting the air quality monitor and an amazing filter.
Yeah. Okay.
And the added utility comes in. So we're going to continue to invest Nest, and then it's Ecobee, and then Honeywell, and the list will go on.
I got Ecobee.
Okay, yeah. So we'll get to that after we set up Nest. It takes a bit of time because the team is obviously prioritizing a lot of other feature sets right now, but smart thermostat integrations are one of the core ones, and we've already begun that, and we'll continue to support more. Trend charts is a big one. So I think, Carl, you had brought this up. Obviously, this makes it more useful in addition to air quality alerts. So it's just us hacking through and getting to it. So you'll see that in future updates. One concept that we want to bring in, but it's all resource dependent on when I can get to it. I gave some example monthly air reports, just like your energy report. We try to provide something similar. It's, again, another reminder and touch point. And the intention here is that for Sunrun customers, there would be a Sunrun Woosh cross streaming here, so that they would not, I'm sure they get emails on the Sunrun side, but now they're actually getting air related ones as well. And the last one here is as we get through this, we're going to probably find 4-inch filter sizes are growing in popularity. We do plan to support them later this year. But I thought I would just call this out, that new filter size support, we're constantly working on it, but they do take time. And the 4-inch is a little bit different than the 1-inch design, but it's expected later this year.
Great. A question for you on the mobile app. So are like copy changes in the app pretty straightforward? I imagine that's pretty.
Yeah. Areas of tweaking. That's why I'm always, you guys are just like another user. So any feedback, Carl, send in my way.
For sure.
And, it helps make a better product.
For sure. Yeah, I think for us, there's some specific language or sort of positioning we'd like to have around this topic. that I think we could is also, I think, generally kind of beneficial to Woosh's customers. So I'll get back to you with some thoughts there.
Yeah, that sounds great. That sounds great. I think that covers all the slides that I have for today. At the end, as this all kind of comes together, I'd love to just let you guys noodle a little bit, just let it set in, because there's a lot that we covered today. But I guess maybe Rocky, Carl, because we've been coordinating separately, there's next steps on setting up a couple of these X. Some of these have 4-inch filters, so we're building a spacer. So we're gonna basically, it's a 1-inch, and you slap it on. In the long term, we obviously want to move to the formal 4-inch support, but I think that gives them a very good experience, and they can set it up fully, and then we can replace them at a later point, or they at least can get set up, try it out for a bit, and then when we're formally supporting the 4-inch, we can get them updated. So that's my next plan. And then other than that, really, it's just pushing mobile backend updates continually from now until launch. And when actually it will just keep going. I don't think there will be any stopping.
Right, and then down the road you have Rev 2 of your air quality monitor as well, right?
Yeah. Carl, I did want to book separate time with you to talk through specifically VOCs in a little bit more detail.
Okay.
But that one gets into a lot more kind of the technical nuance, because I know we briefly discussed it in some of the feedback there.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd like to spend some direct time with you, if you can spare maybe 30 minutes, to kind of go through our thinking around that and NOx, because as with anything, there's actually a lot of detail in the technical, but I want to make sure that you and I are on the same page with what to expect, because as we got more and more details with the suppliers, we have a better understanding of how that technology works and what to expect and how it relates to Sunrun.
Okay, cool. No, absolutely.
I think maybe one bold question I might ask is there anything blocking that folks see, or areas that we need to focus on and put a bit more attention as it relates to thinking about locking down a July 10th launch date, or areas that we can do better on?
Not from my perspective. I haven't been involved in the day-to-day. I mean, everything I'm hearing is that we're on track. So,
okay. So,
love to hear from Ryan or Rocky if there's anything from your perspective. But for where I sit, it's looking good.
Good closing thought, Winston, or good closing comment. But yeah, I think that the only question I have that's outstanding is coordinating getting these monitors to sales reps.
Yeah.
So, is that going to be shipped directly to their home? Because the bay is massive. We have 3 essentially locations that we meet, but we have certain sales reps that live, an hour plus away from that location.
Yeah, we can bulk ship. What we were planning is we actually have the boxes of them here. So one, I'd like to, sooner than later, if you can give me your sales folks, I'd like to just send them this first, right? I'd just like to mail them a bunch of these.
Yeah.
And then, in a couple of weeks, as we get closer to the beginning, early parts of July, I think we were thinking of bulk box shipping, 30 units or something, or you kind of break down the number per, and then we would ship it out to them.
Okay.
And then, and that way, one, they've had a bit of time and experience to set this up and get comfortable for themselves. Because I think it's best when you kind of live and breathe what you're bringing in, and then the bulk ship box can be in their car and they can just bring in, deploy with them. So let me know how you want to do the breakdown and how many, and then I'll work. Nick and team can look at producing kind of some bulk ship boxes that we can work with you on.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay, and then Rocky, I'll work with you. I don't know if you have any others on the exec side. My timing for that, it would be maybe an end of week if I'm lucky at getting the spacers done. If not, early next week we'd ship out to them.
Okay, I think there's a couple more I'm still collecting from, but I'll make sure to get what I can to you by the end of the week.
Can't wait to get
Got
these.
Jordan,
Yeah, filter. If I were to tell you who the other 5 filter homes were, they were all notable Silicon Valley startup pretty like well exited people. It's funny, they signed up on Craigslist when I was selling it on free stuff at that time, so it was really weird. I guess that's how they make all their money.
It's a good tip.
It's a good tip. You got, it's the virtues that they've made success from. So, but okay, this is great. Thank you for taking the time today to walk through all this, or like entertain me walking you through all of this. I think it's just a great chance to get everybody up to speed on what's going on there. And Jordan, we recorded some video, so if you want to see the first bit when I do the product demo, we'll share that link out.
Cool. Yeah, it'd be great. Thanks.
Awesome. Okay.
Appreciate your time, by the way. Thank you.
Yeah. No, it's great. Thank you everybody for taking the time, and we'll touch base soon.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Have a good one. Bye.